Welcome. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good morning to some. My name is Delilah De La Rosa. I am founder of Depth Worldwide, um, and which is putting on this series, Unconventional Wisdom on Grief and Loss. To my side here is Steven Morrison. He's the creator of Spiritual Workout, right? Sorry about that. I had the YouTube channel going on in the back. To my side here is Steven Morrison. He's the creator of Spiritual Workout, as well as the author of An Extra Year, Grief and Loss in the New Age. Wonderful book. And definitely a place where you can see a lot of these spiritual workout concepts in action. Just a little recap, spiritual workout is a practice that I apply in my everyday life. It helps me, and the intention for it is to help people live more consciously, more intentionally. So, solve these problems, everyday life problems, applying these 15 concepts, universally spiritual uh, uh, spiritual concepts. How are you today, Steven?
I'm just fine, thanks. We both just went off screen and came back. I guess that's just me on my end. But
I have to actually pay attention to my battery life, but I will pay attention to that. Okay, so just to last week,
yes.
we talked about some signs that came up. Some new signs that came up that really.
Can we just re-acknowledge and re-invite your mom and my late partner to our party here?
While we do that, I'm going to get this charger.
Okay.
Yes,
now
please.
She's leaving me alone with all y'all. But we we're talking here about Delilah's mom. We're talking part of what we're talking about with Delilah is increasing her ability to communicate with her mom. The book that Delilah showed is a book I wrote about communication I had with my late partner during the year after he died. And so we're just simply, I know for certain they're involved in this project. No sooner, Delilah, I think in the first session, whenever you first presented the book, here he was. He's been part of this, part of my work, our work for the entire time. And so, and I certainly believe that your mom is also very tuned in to what we're doing here. So I just want to put into practice what we're talking about doing, or part of what we're talking about doing, which is communicating with, quote unquote, the other side. And one thing to do would be to invite their presences, which I certainly do. The other thing would be to acknowledge their presences because they're already here. And I think we're, that's.
And thank you for bringing that up at this very moment in the broadcast, because it keeps me, it reminds me of that presence, and to note that presence, recognize that presence more intentionally, right?
Yes, exactly.
And which is very much aligned with one of the intentions that I have, which is two-way communication with the divine. Yes. So thank you for that, Steven.
You're welcome. And the only thing I would add is also welcoming any and all non-physical beings of light and love who have any interest or jurisdiction over what we're doing are also warmly welcomed.
Yes. And just so a little reminder, Steven, about the yes, just a little reminder.
My apologies.
No worries. It's only a something.
I think I've never done this before.
Yeah, I know. It happens. Same thing with like my getting the charger right
Yeah.
now. It's like, oh wow, wait, where is this? All right. So yes, last week, what we started off the broadcast with some of the newer signs or newer sign that I had, noting my mother's presence,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really cool, really lovely to experience as I was writing a review for the of the funeral home that I worked with, that hosted her service. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they the line in which I noted the lime citrus tree, the citrus lime trees or limon trees that we had present at her service. As I was reading that line, uh, Lyman just kind of all of a sudden, randomly, fell from the fruit basket, and this is like 3 o'clock in the morning. No, no tremor, tremor or anything,
Mm-hmm.
that we
Right.
could usually experience in Southern California. Um, Nothing like that. No, no car going by or truck going by or footsteps, nothing. It was just like, and nothing has ever fallen out of that fruit bowl before. So
And
it
I
was
just have to say it, nothing random about it. Do we have
No,
to
I
review that
say
idea?
random because it could seem like it was out of
Yeah.
nowhere. Yeah, it wasn't like we actually saw something that actually moved it or could have caused it, right?
Mm.
Um, so it was I took it as, because come on, it was just too
Well,
coincidental,
yes. And
again in quotes, because it literally, when I was reading that line, doing this review that I poured my heart and soul into, and I was reading that line, and that's when that piece of lineman fell down, and I was like, okay, this is her. I thought that was really cool.
yeah, and I need to stop you right there to underscore a piece of what we're talking about, this practice, which is that right there is Delilah's choice to believe that there was nothing random about it. It pertained exactly to a sentence in a larger project that, as she said, she'd been spending a lot of time on, pouring her heart and soul into, all about the send-off, the memorial for her mom. And this is what happens in my practice all the time. People will have the experience and then choose to disbelieve it or believe something else about it. That's fine. We all have free will. We can believe whatever we choose to believe. We, I think, often think of beliefs as facts, but in a situation like this where something happens, and what do we do as human beings? We make meaning of what happens immediately, usually unconsciously. Here we're doing it more consciously. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to freeze frame on that for a moment and not just gloss over that Delilah, up to this moment and perhaps into the future, is choosing the meaning, she's choosing the meaning that she's making of that 3 o'clock in the morning fall of the fruit.
Yeah,
It doesn't
because
mean anything inherently. It only means what she makes it, what she believes it to be and
Mhm,
to mean.
mhm.
Make sense?
Yeah, because I noticed that the light flickering in the bathroom, I'm now kind of like, well, I think that might be a technical issue. I'm not sure. Like that's not, it doesn't feel as unmistakable as the
Mhm.
line falling.
So here would be, I can't help myself, here would be another way to go about that. The first time the light blinked, I thought for sure it
I
was
was
my
like,
mom, right?
okay, yeah, because
And then
yeah,
it's, yeah, and I hear that, that kind of thing is kind of
yeah,
easier for them to do, an easier way to get our
current.
attention.
Mhm.
That happens 2, 3, 4 more times. It's like, well, is that really my mom, or is
I
there a
need to just
short in
change
the
my
system?
bulb.
Right. But
Or maybe
again,
my mom, behind. I don't know. Yeah,
yes, but again, it's a choice what to believe about it.
yeah,
Now, in my case, what I did in a situation like that, where I noticed, I'm like, is this really him, or am I making this up? And also, after having many experiences where it was not ambivalent at all, not unclear at all, unmistakable. So in the place where it's like, is it or isn't it? Again, choices abound. You can make whatever choice you want to make. But another choice to make in that situation is, all right, I'm not 100% sure here, but I want more and more and more of this. And the first time this happened, I felt like for sure it was my mom. So I am going to choose here now, in this moment, to believe until I'm shown otherwise that when the lights are blinking like that it's my mom. And then using that to magnify and realign with your intention for two-way communication with the divine.
Yeah. Because I didn't feel disappointed when I had the thought of like, maybe I just need to change the light bulb. I didn't feel disappointed. I just felt like I was fine-tuning, when she shows up.
But this is a way to, again, encourage just more showing up in more ways.
Yes. Happy, thank you, more, please.
Exactly.
Yes. Unmistakable, please.
Right.
Which was the lineman. That lineman was definitely, I was like, no, there's no way that was just a fluke. Like this was, because literally that line, I was reading that line, falls, there goes the lineman falling from the fruit bowl.
Yes.
That I was nowhere near. No one was anywhere near it. So, and it happened at 3:00 in the morning. So yes. So we started out with that, and then we went into my writing. This was the soul work that was assigned all the way from the first session that we had, which was my having a hard time accepting / my resisting how my mother passed away. She passed away from pancreatic cancer, stage 4 diagnosis in August, passed away early November. And while I didn't run into any obstacles in accepting the fact that she died for the most part, I think, or that I didn't have any beliefs that pointed to she shouldn't have died, it shouldn't have happened. I didn't have that issue, but my issue was, and still is a bit, but not as hardcore, how she died, her resistance in the whole experience as well. It wasn't just my, not wanting her to die. It was like she was afraid, upset, in agony, right? And so one of the soul work for that first session, which I began doing in terms of writing it down, was to write the narrative, the story of her departure from this plane from her soul's perspective, which inherently would speak to or of my soul's perspective. Right. Again, more of a connection with the divine, it just really hitting all the notes there. And so with that, which was like amazing, what I left off with was to go, I was feeling like I was receiving or hearing crickets as I, ventured to start with that assignment when I was writing. And so I was like, what do you want? What would it be? And that led me, which I think is like really the creation, the writing of the new narrative, is that, oh, my mom, yes, on the ground here, she was afraid. She was afraid. She was resistant. She did not like what was happening. But her telling me, like, Lila, in this plane right here, it's all good. Like I just didn't know what was in store for me, but I am all good. I'm actually more expansive and powerful and magical. And so that was really cool. And since then, I've been going that way whenever I feel that sensation of like verklempt, that heaviness in my chest over that experience. And so, and after that, I did point to my still having um, some charge over the how, and why the soul would have chosen this path. And what we landed on, what we landed on was that there's something to my feeling. There's a belief there with my not being able to have a say in her journey, my not being able to really do anything to stop what was going on. And what does that mean to me? And so we left off with like, let's come up with some beliefs, you know, from this session to today. What kind of beliefs are at play here that have me feeling so charged, sad, upset over the fact that I did not have a say. I was not able to do anything but just be a witness and supportive of her. And one of the things that came up was I'm not okay unless everyone else is okay. And the reason why I felt that that was something that was pretty strong is because I really do feel that had my mother expressed an acceptance of what was going on, I would have felt more inclined to accepting and being more at peace with it, right? And so that brought me to that place of I'm not okay unless the others are okay, right? I can't be at peace unless everyone else is at peace. Okay, so that was one of the heavy the beliefs that came up. The other one was the age-old one, I'm not enough. This is a really interesting one.
So just to be clear, the assignment from 2 weeks ago,
clarify, Steven,
was just to, okay, let's see what's underneath. This is what we do in spiritual workout practice all the time. It's let's just see what it is we are believing that is creating our feelings of whatever they are. Yeah. Because we're not feeling anything. We're not having any.
The resistance.
Yeah. And so.
Unacceptance.
Yes. So it was go and see if you can find anything.
And we're not going to dig. We weren't digging. If it was just if it came
up.
Yeah,
but it was, and look for it. And,
yes.
Right. Yeah. It's not like, change your entire life and go, but at some point, this is it. So last week, Delilah had a couple, and I think the homework, as it were, between last week and this week was to flush this list out. Were the two that you came up with last week the entirety of it all? And now you're saying, no, there are some brothers and sisters and cousins of the beliefs that came to the fore last week, right?
Yes.
That's where we are. So,
so we have those two right now. The I'm not enough, which is not my first rodeo with that one. Right. This one though was pretty big, which we came up with in the last couple of weeks, which is I'm not okay. I can't be at peace unless others are okay, unless others are at peace. Right. In this situation, I can't accept unless my mother accepted what was going on with her, right? Here's a very interesting one.
Okay.
I will be punished if I don't live my authentic life.
How are you meaning punished in that sense?
Meaning that this whole idea that if you don't initiate change, transformation, in the direction of living your authentic life, living according to your soul's agenda, then the universe will intervene. And you know how sometimes people talk about that dynamic? It like in terms of like, you want to make sure that you're at the forefront of the change, of the transformation, of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Because unless you want the universe to do it for you, and it's usually with the connotation that it's gonna smack you up a little bit, like that intervention. And I'm just being honest, I was like, I think
Yeah.
I kind of, the energy behind that for me, behind that
Mm-hmm.
belief, behind that idea is punishment. Like, bitch, if you don't get your shit together, the universe will
Negative consequences.
the universe will step in to get it together for you, and
Mm-hmm.
so there's definitely some of that plays into the health anxieties.
Okay. Before we move off of that one,
Ideas of being blindsided by life, like that was something that really came up, was like, this is, worst case scenario, a nightmare situation, because you're so blindsided. It was like, boom, diagnosis, boom, died, and I was like, what the fuck happened here? That kind of thing. Or what leads to this type of imbalance or this type of experience where you're blindsided by it is because you're not living authentically, you're not processing your stuff, you're not in alignment. So that was a belief that I realized. I was like, okay, I think that there's that, I'm carrying that bit of energy inside of me, which makes me afraid of life, right? It's just
right.
afraid of the universe.
Constantly on the defensive.
Yes, exactly. So that was another one. I'm just stating them as I wrote them down.
But this right here, this is for me, well, for all of us, getting to the root of an issue, right? So I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling that. I'm having this experience over and over and over again. So the root of any of those experiences is always going to be a belief or a set of beliefs. So Delilah has really dived in and is coming up with, and there's usually one or two. It's like, okay, that was a good start. Let's just see if there's more to it. Turns out there is this idea that a lot of our beliefs have brothers and sisters and cousins, right? Very closely related. Might sound like the same.
They're coming up right now.
Yeah, all right, go.
So now this one I think is brother, sister, sibling / cousin to the I'm not okay unless others are okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will struggle on my own. Okay. The other one that's, I think, related. I
just want to ask, when I will struggle on my own, is that like, all right, everybody's doing their thing, and if I've got stuff to, I'll help you, but I'll deal with my own stuff on my own?
No. What that means is more of like, if those others aren't okay, then I'm going to be struggling.
Oh, I got you. So if others are not,
I can't be in my sovereign space because I feel like I need others in order for me to be okay. Like I'm going to struggle on my own. That's why I need for those people that I'm relying on to be okay.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And another belief that came up that seems similar, that seems also related to the whole others thing, is I need to compromise myself for survival.
Okay.
So again, I can't be okay unless others are okay, Yeah.
And you see, all of us can hear that these beliefs are, you know, distinct from one another, and yet they're all very much related. Yes. So say that one again. I need to compromise
myself for survival.
All right.
And so here, two other ones that were clear to me. This is another not first rodeo. Getting older means loss, decline, more loss, decline. And that is kind of encompasses many iterations of that, like in terms of, as you get older, you're going to experience more loss because more people end up dying, right? And they end up dying because of decline, physical decline, and then of course that's your thing, like the older you get, the more physical decline. So many ideas in that belief, right? And then the other one was a bit more pointing to it's I think it's related to I'm not okay unless others are okay, but kind of slightly different in that and I think I mentioned it briefly last session, that when I think about the things that I don't want to carry with me, that I know my mother would not want me to hold, carry, are her / my issues, limiting beliefs about that make me feel shame, less than, inferior, and it'll produce guilt when I think about my not wanting to carry that, like as if I am criticizing my mother, and it'll make me feel like as if I'm judging my mother. And it makes me feel guilty / afraid of going there because I feel like that leads to disconnection. So it's almost like I don't know if you've, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure you have. Like sometimes people on the more woo-woo end of things will feel like some people will have allergies, for example. I remember this example of some guy having an allergy to, let's say, dairy or something. And it was because his father had some allergy to dairy, and he felt like that was a way to stay connected to his father by having the allergy to dairy. That's what I feel like is a little bit, you know what I mean? Like going on there.
So what is it that you would be holding? I think I missed that part. That she wouldn't want you to, but you...
Shame.
Oh, that's...
Shame. Not feeling enough.
Yeah.
Feeling less than.
So any of these beliefs, really.
Yeah. And the reason why I say this too is because I was feeling really good after our last session. I was just like, wow, like that, writing this according to the soul's perspective helped me get to this point. Now I'm going into beliefs. And I just had the next day, I had this experience that brought up a trigger or something that became activated that I didn't realize. I was like, oh, wow, that's still there. Right. And that's what had me go into these beliefs. Cause I was just like, all right, there's material there that this activated, because it like took me out the rest of the night when that came up, and it was pointing to feelings of inadequacy, shame. And it reminded me of some of the bouts my mother had with those feelings, with those beliefs. On top of that, it made me start feeling, or maybe that's another belief, I'm running out of time.
It is a belief.
That's another belief that came up, I guess. I got to put that there.
Also not new.
No, that I'm running out of time to get my life together. Doing it, like changing these beliefs, because, look at what happened with my mom. You know what I mean? Like it just started becoming like this thing where I was like, all right, I need to like work this out because it's starting to like double up. You know what I mean? Like I was like, okay, I'm feeling triggered by these feelings of shame, inadequacy, and all of that were triggered, activated. after this experience. And then it made me think like, oh, this is, very similar to what my mom had felt, what she believed. And then it was like, Delilah, you don't you don't want to waste your life with these beliefs that are holding you back. You're going to be wasting your life. But then that wasn't feeling good, because it was feeling like adding pressure, again, punishment. You know what I mean? Like kind of this like negative, like pressure, into the mix, as
So
opposed
pressure in terms of, well, these beliefs don't serve me, and I get that, and yet again, I have a reason to hold on to them. Is that what you mean?
No, more of like pressure, in that I have these beliefs that are really, messing up my program, and they are, I need to change them in order for me to live the life that I'm supposed to live.
Yeah.
Right. But it was feeling like pressure than just a truth.
So the pressure came from the belief that I'm running out
Punishment.
of time, and also from,
And
got
also
it.
the
Yeah.
punishment
Yeah,
too,
yeah, right. Yes.
Because it's just like what, you're gonna be like this until you're like 65, and then who knows what happened, that kind of, and it was just getting really nasty.
Yeah.
Like, the energy was like, I was like, oh my goodness, okay, we gotta go
Right.
into
But what makes it feel nasty when that energy are the beliefs themselves. So that's what we're here to do. Uncover, what am I believing that's creating this resistance? What am I believing that's creating this?
Perhaps there was also a sense of like, is it possible for me to change this? Because it's just been so well practiced. Maybe there's a little bit of that in there too.
Okay.
And like, I know conceptually that there is, but you know what I mean? Like, I think that this still has its little.
Well, if you knew it, you wouldn't say what you just said.
Yeah.
So you have some doubt. So whether it's 2% or 22%
Yeah,
or
it's
82%.
there's some. Yeah, there's some there.
All right.
Okay, I think that's it. So that's like about 9.
Yeah, we got some real ones here.
Yeah.
All right. So do you believe that you create your own reality?
I do. And the reason why I say it like that is because I don't think that I don't think that our reality is solely of our creation. I think we're co-creating.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a huge say. I do believe that.
So let's look at some of these beliefs.
I was like, wait a minute. Do I believe I have a huge say?
Well, let's see. Let's look at some of these beliefs just off the bat and see if they are counter to the belief that one creates one's own reality. Okay, so for example, I'm not okay unless everyone else is okay. That implies that you're not in charge of your own reality.
Yeah.
Along with some of these other ones, right?
The punished one.
I can't be at peace, the punished one. Maybe the running out of time.
Because my co-creator is like, Delilah, right? And I'm just like, oh shit. Yeah. I don't think I have the best relationship with the co-creator.
And yet that's part of your intention.
Yep.
Two-way communication with that very thing.
Yep.
All right.
Like I'm like, again, conceptually, I believe the universe has my back. God has my back. And then I also have this other one where it's like, bitch, if you don't get your shit together, we're gonna get it together for you, whether you like it or not. There's definitely that. So I'm holding
So
those two.
that's another one. Yeah, that I get it. So that's another, somebody would only say that if they had some sense that they didn't have full control over their reality.
Right. I don't
So,
believe that we have full control though, because again, co-creation.
yes, you're right. We don't control every aspect of, but we, when we're living, let's just talk from the place of today moving forward. For anybody who's in a situation today that is less than 100% of what they want, and they are endeavoring to create, to fill, to close that gap from where they are today to full 100% satisfaction beyond, part of the trick is being satisfied with what is today, but that's a different story. But going forward, setting the intention, we have total control of that. What do I want? I want to be happy. I want to be at peace. I want to da-da-da. So that's 100% up to us. None of that is imposed upon us. Different ones of us are different. I went through
Because
a
they
whole
don't
thing.
control the how and the when.
Yes,
So,
well, I was getting to that, but just before we even get there, where does the intention and the desire come from in the first place?
yes.
I went through a whole phase of, wait a minute, am I just a puppet? And my intentions are just going to kind of like, literally, am I just a puppet? And then why am I even here if it's already done? And it took some time to learn and navigate, which parts do I control and which parts do I not? So an intention can come from within, right? Or it can be inspired somehow by something we see or experience out there and say, oh yeah, I want more of that, or I never saw that before, I want some of that. And I don't mean just materially, and I know you know that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where we have 100% say. You got it right. We use these all the time in spiritual workout world, like let go of how and let go of when, because it is not our job. That is the job of our co-creative partner. That's the spiritual part. Well, you have an idea, little human, of how it could happen. That's great. Use that idea to help align with what you want, and then let go of it having to work out that way, because cute as it is that you have an idea, the universe is, I am, I have infinite ideas. So that's one reason that kicks in the spiritual part, that kicks in the ongoing. Well, it's already kicked in with the intention, but this is a part of it. This is, oh, okay, this is not my job. Thank you. Go ahead, go off and doing it. And I don't make the rules, but the timing of things, we're basically taught it's going to show up at the right and perfect time for you. Maybe not what it looks like in your 3D world, but certainly what it looks like on a soul level. So, it's that idea where I talk about, hiking up the mountain, and here's the, and I know where I'm going. And it sure looks like if I just cut over here, I'll make it much more readily, much more quickly. But the path is guiding me to go this way, which seems counterintuitive. I'm going up, but now it's making me go down, and da-da-da. And the guidance is always, we have a larger view, just listen to what we're saying and go this way. We have free will. We don't have to go that way. We can go the other way. But letting go of how it happens is all of that, right?
I think some, just like what I said a little bit before, I think that the like what just came to me was like a lot of this is pointing to this idea of I'm afraid of my co-creative partner.
Mm.
It's not a lovey-dovey situation. Again, conceptually, I'm like, yes, the universe has my back. Of course, God has my back. Of course, they want me to live the life of my dreams, right? Like conceptually. But the way that I go about, the way I roam this world, this universe, is one where I'm afraid of it.
What's the worst that would happen?
Similar to what happened with my mom.
What happened with your mom?
Loss and decline, her physical loss, her agony, seeing her in agony, seeing my loved ones in agony, right?
So you're afraid of your.
What beliefs are behind this, but I do find the witnessing someone dying,
Mhm.
right? Like with my mom's situation, I do find it sad. And the reason why I find it sad is because of that when I think of the physical loss,
Right.
right?
So
But
again,
understanding the spiritual gain, right? Which is what lights me up. But yeah,
yes, but I'm also focused on the sad, which is your judgment.
yeah.
And I'm not saying it's, we all pick and choose what we're going to, that's the whole conversation we're having, right? And yet it doesn't change the fact that it's a judgment, that it's realistic, that other people would have the same judgment. Doesn't change the fact that
No,
it's
because
still
not everybody feels sad over this physical loss.
exactly.
But I
And you're also rewriting the story.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so not only with that, seeing my loved ones, same thing with me.
Mm-hmm.
Decline,
Yeah.
loss,
Right.
within my own body system,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Um, that's another worst thing that can
All right.
happen.
So one thing on your homework for next week that we'll just come back to, but I want to bookmark,
Okay.
is what intentions need to be set. And there's certainly one for your physical health. And I know that's
Yes.
not new. So, but that's certainly being triggered and picked at
Activated.
and stabbed at and activated. And yes, all those wonderful things. So let's just be sure that we do that before we end today, and see if there are others. Okay, so some of these beliefs we're saying are based on the idea of questioning, do I really create my own reality? The other way that each of us creates our own reality, separate from consciously setting an intention and going through the mechanics of doing so, speaking in present tense language, letting go, like we're saying, of how and when and all of that. But a whole other way that we create our reality is, as we were discussing earlier, by the meaning that we make of anything that we ever experience, right? So you and I could sit, Delilah, next to each other in an empty movie theater, watch an entire movie together or some kind of presentation or something, right? And we come out and there's a press conference and people are asking us what we saw. And you say something and I'm like, yeah, I saw that. Seems like what I saw. And then I say something and you're like, I didn't see that at all. And then you say something else and I'm like, I didn't see that at all. And it's very clear and very obvious very, very, very quickly that you and I, while we experienced ostensibly the same thing, we didn't experience it in the same way because we are creating how we experience it based on who we are, our life experiences to date, our belief systems, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So maybe we'll find it in this conversation and maybe it will come later, but so for you to identify the piece of this idea that I create my own reality that you're not 100 with.
I think that what I'm not 100 with is that I don't trust my co-creative partner.
Okay. So now I don't trust. I have fear.
It.
I'll be punished. Yeah. Okay. So I don't trust. Trust,
the choice.
Cousin faith is what Delilah just said, 100% of the time. Nobody can give it to us. Nobody can.
Why can't the universe give it to? Why can't it be like, you know what, Delilah, you can trust me, and I'm going to show you why you.
Well, so this is what somebody who is communicating with the divine would do and say, I'm a little wobbly today.
Okay.
Please, starting today, show me as many examples as you can, as many reasons as you can put in front of me so that I can move from this place of some distrust to fully trusting, because that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be
Yeah,
something I
that's part of
need.
the intention I had for a minute.
Yes.
The whole, I received the download, I received the bits of inspiration, and I go for it, follow it, no questions asked.
Yes. So in my world, and you've witnessed this a lot, somebody comes in, and when we're in our intention setting clinic on Wednesdays, and what is the number one issue, challenge that people have? They put their foot on the gas because it's like, this is what we do here. Start talking and thinking about your intention the way you want it to be, and just really get going. And then they reach a point in the process where they get a little stuck. And so I'm like, well, what are you believing? And the major belief is some degree of, I don't trust it. I don't trust the process. I know this law of attraction thing is a thing. I believe it. I believe it works for you for sure. I've seen it work for some of my friends. I don't believe it works for me. I don't have the faith. I don't have the trust. And so what do we do with those people is help them to develop it. And one of the ways that we encourage with people is to set a whole bunch of small little intentions. Most of us are coming in, there's some big part of our life or big giant chunks.
Get some practice.
Yes. And we have these huge intentions, and our current realities are very, very far from them. And not only are they big, but we're very vested in them. How and when, we're very, very, we have a lot of thoughts and ideas about how and when it should happen. Like, it should happen yesterday, and it should happen in this way. And so there's so much to let go of in this process. So then we encourage people to say, set an intention or a bunch of intentions for small things that you don't care about, that you don't have any attachment to, that you don't have a sense of urgency about, and see. And then you start to see, like one of our clients said, okay, in this exact situation, all right, universe, if you're there, if you're really there and you're paying attention to little old me, I want to see, what did she say? Purple Jeeps. Show me purple Jeeps. I just want to see purple Jeeps wherever. And within a week, she's seeing purple Jeeps. I'm not sure I've ever seen a purple Jeep, but she started seeing them. And so that immediately started to build her faith and her trust. Oh, okay, let me try something else now. And then the next thing was a little more challenging, but it wasn't like $10 trillion in my bank account by tomorrow. Right. And yet the universe would say, Steven, there's no difference between that and all the things you're talking about. But and to which I say, remember, I'm down here in 3D in the body, and this is how we talk. Anyway, so this would be something to do to grow that trust muscle, because again, it's just ultimately a choice. We choose to trust. And another thing to help develop your trust in your co-creative partner, and that would be to, what was I just going to say? To look at all the things you do trust in the course of a day. From the time you wake up and open your eyes, something as silly as you trust the floor is going to be there when you put your feet down. You trust that when you turn the water on, it's going to come out. You trust that you can use that water healthfully and that it will not harm you. You trust that that you have food, right? I mean, think of all the things you trust. You trust if you're out driving around, right? You trust the other person's going to stop at the stoplight or the stop sign, because if you didn't trust that, you wouldn't get in the car.
I trust that I could drive the car.
And you trust that you can drive the car. You can trust, and you trust that one of my favorites, if not the favorite, my favorite, I'll know what to do when it's time to do it. I trust that wholeheartedly. Right? So we are choosing what to trust all day, every day. I trust the organic sticker on the produce that I just bought. Well, am I sure that it's the organic one and didn't get in the other pot? No. If you ask me on that level, no. But I choose to trust. Why? Because that's what I want to do. It's my business. It's a path of least resistance for me. So setting a bunch of some smaller intentions, setting things up that way, be specific. We've already been doing this with your mom a little bit. Show me some other kinds of signs right? I
Yeah.
trust. I assume you're continuing with that.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
if you want to expand it, maybe it's all going to be her that can help you with that. Maybe it's beyond her and other than, or you just keep it general and say, I don't care who's doing it. Well, I'm talking directly to my co-creative partner because that's where I'm having the trust issue. But yeah, show me whoever, however, I just want to see it. And then I will choose to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, what am I already trusting? And if you really look closely at that, you'll see probably hundreds of things.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It was really interesting. I don't know if this has anything to do with what we're talking about, kind of, but not specifically these beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. I was
Mm-hmm.
listening to a meditation today that was like a bunch of affirmations about to promote self-confidence, right? And as I was listening to these affirmations slash meditation, confidence meditation, I was, taking stock as to like noting how I was feeling whenever these affirmations came up.
Mm-hmm.
And the bulk of those affirmations, that had to do with confidence,
Mm-hmm.
I felt wobbly.
Mm.
And so I was like, okay, there's beliefs, there's stuff there, and maybe these beliefs that I pointed out
Mm-hmm.
are getting in the way of my aligning with those affirmations or those more serving, but I think what are much more beneficial beliefs to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
But yeah, something that I wanted to bring up because I noticed that I did it today. And I was just like, oh, wow, like there's stuff there,
Well, so when we're talking about confidence specifically, so again, this could be on your intention list.
Mm-hmm. I feel
And
like it's very much associated with the trust I have in myself, capital S, and the divine.
you just skipped to the end. That's
Yeah,
exactly it.
that's exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's really
that's why I think that's why I brought it up because I was like, I feel like it has something to do with this.
100%,
Yeah,
because that is what it is. So when I'm talking with anybody about confidence, if you ask me, that's what comes from our concept, listen to inspiration. When we are talking about trust, trusting other people, trusting life, trusting really fundamentally, it's about trusting ourselves. I'll know what to do when it's time to do it.
yes,
I will just know. Well, how do
yeah.
you know that? Because look at my past. It happened this time and that time. If you would have
Mm-hmm.
asked me before that car accident if I would have been able to blah, 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 blah. No, I would have not. But there I was in it, and I knew exactly what to do. And it turned out I was helpful. And
Yeah,
if you asked me 1 minute beforehand what I would do in that situation, I would say I would have no idea what to do.
I mean, look at what the experience I had with my mom.
Right.
I rose to the occasion.
Yes, exactly. You knew what to do. Yeah, that's not the scenario. Right. So exactly. So for confidence specifically, it's related to trust, like you said, and it's about growing your listen to inspiration muscle. What are you laughing?
I'm laughing because remember how for years I've had this belief that other people fuck up my program. Like that's Delilah.
You don't create your own reality. See, there's
right. Other people fuck up my program, right? And still is there, obviously. It's a very well practiced belief. But what I realized that in the way I'm talking about the universe, God, all that is, it's like all that is fucking out my program.
Yeah, it's a conundrum.
That's kind of like a thing.
That's a conundrum.
I'm talking about it, like the universe is like.
So I think
universe is now fucking up my program.
No.
I know it's not, but that's I guess that's another belief there.
Well, yes, but again, and it ties to the other underlying theme that seems to be percolating here, which is some degree of how much control do I really have
Yeah,
over
how much of a
my
say? How
reality.
much of a say?
Yeah,
Yes, yes. It goes
exactly.
back to that. Yes, sir.
So my question to you before we go any farther is, so in regular spiritual workout or any session, this might be, we might take the time to start using EFT, applying tapping
Yeah.
to these beliefs. I don't know if you want to do that here or if that's something, Delilah has a lot of experience with
Yeah.
tapping. So, you tell me if you want to do any of that here.
I think not right now.
Okay. And
Because
let's just underscore for everybody what we're talking about,
yes, because this is
which
like
is,
basically a dump list
yes. So
of
we
beliefs.
want to become aware of whatever we're believing. The idea is beliefs matter. They really do. They create experience. Sometimes we're very, very conscious of what we're believing. Oftentimes we're not. It's extremely common for me to hear the sentence, wow, I didn't know I believed that, right? And in this
I
particular
never
case,
said the universe was fucking up my program.
yeah. And so as we look further and further into them, we just want to keep going until we're pretty much done.
That's not going to make you a
And
happy camper to believe that.
right. So Delilah has done this work. She's gotten to where, okay, she referred to a dump list. That's what I always call it. We just dump those beliefs on there. Not that we're going to ignore them or set them on fire. We're going to transmute and transform them from
Yeah.
beliefs that don't serve us into beliefs that do serve us, that align with the truth of who we are, that align with all the intentions that we are endeavoring to cultivate. That's what we're doing here. That's the process. So because Delilah has a lot of experience with tapping on beliefs like this, she's comfortable doing it on her own. But that would be a critical piece. So we get the beliefs all
Yes.
out, and then we go about the business of transmuting, transforming them. We know that everything is energy. Those beliefs are just energy. That's how we know that a belief in I can't can readily and easily transform into a belief I can. How long it takes? I said readily and easily because the process is what the process is. It's not that complicated. Sometimes beliefs are really deeply held, and sometimes we have reasons for not being quite ready to release them, all kinds of things. Yet, if we need or want a belief to change, it absolutely can. And guess what? That's a belief in and of itself, right? But it's also a belief in this process.
The beginning, like, I was like, maybe I am questioning the possibility of change happening because this is just this sensation, these beliefs, and the sensation that accompanies it has been with me for so long, has been practiced for so long,
Yes. Yes.
Again, conceptually, I don't believe any of this.
I know. And that means you're halfway home. You're
Yeah.
halfway home. So the
Right.
awareness, the seeing the belief, I hear teachers all the time saying, well, as soon as you see the belief, then you'll release it because you see it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, have you been in my classes? Because
No.
everyone understands that in their head, and
It's like I
most
get
people
it and I
struggle
love
with,
it
yes.
and
I
but
know. So
really, really.
yes. So maybe we'll even do a separate recorded session just on tapping on the beliefs if you want to
Well,
at
that's
some
what
point.
what I was gonna do is because I was saying, like, I was thinking that what I'll start doing on my own offline is see where I get when I tackle those beliefs. The universe is fucking up my program. I'm seeing that
Can't
that's a
trust it.
big one. Right. Right. And can't trust it.
Whoops. Is Delilah frozen for anybody else? Or am I the one that's frozen? All right, I'm just going to see if I can send her a little note. I'm seeing you as frozen. Now she's gone. She'll be
Sorry.
back.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I think there's something happening with my connection, but I think
Okay.
it's back now. I think
We
it's back.
got you. All right.
So yeah, so I think that I want to focus on the universe fucks up my program because I feel like that encompasses the I will be punished.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
I agree. I want to say something else right here in terms of the process. So then we get a whole list of beliefs, and she's got a good list going here, more than a dozen, right? So then the question is, well, where do you start? And I always want to start with the biggest, honkiest, ugliest, heaviest one. And this theme of Delilah just, I don't know if I can trust the universe, seems like the best thing. And then what happens, and we'll see, oftentimes, because they're so closely related, I'm just giving a preview of what could happen. When we start on the biggest, clunkiest one or ones and do that work, they often take some of the other ones with them.
Yeah, so that I feel like the universe is fucking up my program or can fuck up my program is a huge one, as well as the I'm not okay unless others are okay.
Yeah.
Those two, I feel, are the most pressing.
I would agree.
And they point to I don't fully create, I don't have as much of a say as I'd like in my life, in my reality.
Right.
But yeah, those two I think I'll start with, and I'll, give an update next week, or may actually do some tapping on those things depending on how it goes.
Yeah.
Next week.
You mean with me in this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Depending on how it goes. Those are pretty, they seem pretty meaty.
Right. They are.
Yeah.
And that's why also I'll just, like I say, I mean, I would be willing for sure to, if you say, hey, let's just take a chunk of time and do the tapping together. So any which way. The only advantage to that,
live or pre-recorded.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, kind of quasi pre-recorded, like separate from between now and next time.
Yes. So it could be pre-recorded between now and next session, or we could just do it if it feels right to just do it live.
You're the boss.
That sounds good. Yeah, I like that. I like that. See, look, I didn't even put that down, but then it came to me. I was like, before it was other people fuck up my program. And now I'm like, wait, I think I'm like going about my life in a way where I believe that like the universe is fucking up my program or can fuck up my program.
Right.
And that is not in alignment with one, a good life, two, the connection with the divine. It's like,
well, yeah, you're already fighting.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I'm on guard.
Yeah, right. So another thing that'll help, and I'm just going to throw it out there and you'll do what you do on your own. There is an infinite supply, no pun intended, but it applies, of, let's just say, very broadly speaking, written material that is essentially under the umbrella. This is not a title, it's just an idea. Messages from the divine, messages from
All right. I think we are back. Something going on with I think on my end, my connection. Let's see. Ah,
Whoops.
there you are.
There I
Okay. Okay. Sorry. I think that there's something going on with my connection because this is the second time that it happened.
Yeah. Well, we
I
were just kind of closing down, right?
Yeah, we were. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I want to finish that thought. So there's all manner of material where, however it comes through, messages from God, really,
Maybe
and
this was a message.
yeah, stop at this technology and connect in another way.
Right.
It means whatever we make it mean. What do you make it mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying there's so much literature out there, and that when a person just sort of starts to luxuriate in some of those thoughts and ideas and hear them repeatedly in different ways from different angles, now mixed into that could be all kinds of stuff that doesn't resonate with you. So it's not about what's right or wrong or who or what. It's just what resonates. Read a few words. Oh, that's interesting. And read some more until it doesn't feel good. But it might be something that will help you to soften your resistance with this issue, challenge.
The tackling the limiting beliefs with EFT.
Well, that for sure. And now I'm talking about reading literature.
Oh, okay.
Did you miss that whole thing before?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the whole, okay. What I was getting at, the last thing that I wanted to leave you with, what is the idea? So for somebody who's struggling with trust in source, there is so much literature, written material, channeled to through all manner over so much time.
Okay, yeah, did not get that
okay.
when we got disconnected.
So my suggestion is
we were disconnected.
Right. And here I thought we were connected.
I know.
So it's just, for somebody who's challenged in the moment with trusting source and yet wants to trust source because it's going to be critical to everything else you're wanting for yourself, this might be something that can help with that, to literally luxuriate in some of it. Now, there's so much out there, I don't even have a specific thing to send you to. Maybe I'll look around and see. But find it on your own, see what you're drawn to. Just discard immediately anything that doesn't resonate and keep going with anything that does.
So literature that helps me, or
It's
that,
like,
that gives you accounts of people trusting the universe.
No, not even that. It's more direct messages from source, messages from co-creation, messages, in other words, that various poets over time will be like, they're just
channeling
all kinds of ways that people have transmitted and published what they would call, what I'm calling, messages from God. And again, for somebody who's having a challenge, trusting, that might be another thing that would really help to, as I said, soften your resistance or help to melt that distrust. So you got a lot of ways to address this challenge.
Okay. If you can, if you remember any pieces of literature that can help with that, let me know.
Sure. Yes, I definitely will. I'm not like keeping it from you.
Yeah. No, I know. You're just
don't
right now.
Top of mind.
Yeah.
And I used to have hundreds of books, and now I have that many.
Right.
So,
right. But that would be.
But I will.
Yeah.
And also ask around. Ask some of your trusted sources.
Yeah.
They might have things too. And I certainly will.
Great. Um, the last bit that I'd like to talk about, which is something very light and really points to inspiration, listening to inspiration and my mom's presence,
Mm-hmm.
is so I have depth worldwide as media and entertainment production company type of thing. And I want to like have projects that are very meaningful, a little more serious, more like deeper in tone for that company, for this company.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have my very light, fun, wacky, whimsical side, sometimes absurd, ridiculous, cheesy storytelling side that I really wanted to entertain. I'm feeling more called to entertain. Like, this is pretty much the main thing that I'm um, producing, creating for depth right now is unconventional wisdom on grief and loss. So I have something going on for that, but there's this part of me that was really yearning for something light, fun that I could just lose myself in, immerse myself into that.
Mm-hmm.
And I started coming up with these like fun love stories, like just like these
Mm-hmm.
really fun, like just I have a bunch of different story ideas. And I was seeing on social media promos for stories like series that like you can preview the first 10 for free. And then if you want to keep watching, then you
Mm-hmm.
have to pay to keep watching the more episodes, right?
Right.
And that inspired these story ideas that I have. And I was like, these don't feel like the right fit for depth. So I want to create another production company, entertainment production company.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do it like in honor of my mother. And so my mother was Peruvian, is Peruvian, and one of her favorite dishes, which is a Peruvian dish, is like tallarines verde with bistec, and what that translates to is green spaghetti. So I am created this production company called Green Spaghetti Productions, just for these light, wacky, fun love stories or whatever
Mm-hmm.
stories that I'm creating. So yeah, I like that.
I love that because it's what we're all here to do all day, every day, which is just find what lights us up, what
Yeah.
interests us, what
And
gets us
green spaghetti
excited.
just seems so perfect for
Yes, and then I love it. And then just do it for the sake of doing it because you're
yeah.
doing it for the
It's
sake of.
fun. I love doing it. It's like I don't even really want to do anything else outside of this and maybe hanging out with my husbands, but it's like no, but I mean, like really, like right now, the thing that's bringing me a lot of joy and fun and like juiciness is working on that.
Do that and only that.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody else, y'all gonna have to take a back seat.
Maybe we'll see you next week and maybe we won't.
Yeah. Wait, now not this, but everybody else. Because this I like because
Okay.
yes, I like this. This is very,
Your depth.
But everybody else,
Your depth and your green spaghetti.
yeah, because guess what? I'm like I'm gonna be okay even if you're not okay with green spaghetti, okay? Anyway.
Woo.
All right. Well, thank you so
I'm
much,
going to quote
Stephen.
you on that.
This
February
is session
26th,
6. What?
It was. It is.
What happened?
I said it was
Uh-oh.
session 6.
We're freezing.
I'm kidding. I'm saying because we're at the end.
Oh. I didn't catch that, Stephen, because you froze. Okay.
It was a silly
Thank you,
joke.
Stephen. Again, Stephen is the creator of Spiritual Workout, author of An Extra Year, Grief and Loss in the New Age. My connection was a little funky today, so I'm sorry, Stephen, you're like frozen. Let me see if I can just remove you so you could properly remove and add. Nope. Now you're blacked out, but I can hear you, I think. But yes, thank you so much, everyone who joined us. We will see you next week, same time, same place, Wednesday, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Live. Hope to see you there. And thank you once again, Steven. Unless you want to add anything. Well, you're frozen again.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. We will see you next week.
I'm good. Bye for now.
Okay. Send.
Still running.
I know.
Okay. I'm going to excuse
having
myself.
trouble connecting with my internet. Okay.